Welcome back, college baseball fans, especially ACC and UVA baseball fans. I am joined by UVA infielder Henry Godbout. Henry, thanks for coming on. How are you doing?
Of course, man. Great. It's great to see you.
Yeah, you're one of my first two-time guests here. You were on with us back in July, and a lot's happened since then. As you guys gear up for another hopeful run at Omaha. Um, we talked right around July 4th about your experiences on the Cape, and you hadn't really gotten started. But I know you didn't have the summer you wanted to, but was there a little bit of FOMO as you watched Harwich win the title towards the end of the summer?
I don't know about FOMO. I mean, yeah, you always want to be a part of a championship team. But I love my time up there. It was a great experience. I mean, I was only there for a short time, but I feel like I made a little bit of an impact. And I learned a lot. So, I mean, I'm super grateful for my time up there. Obviously, I wish I could have stayed there the whole time, but it was a great experience.
Yeah, I know we had your buddy Macon on last month, and he was talking about how you guys, right before you ended up going back, you guys had just gotten a bunch of supplies to go deep sea fishing,
Yeah.
and didn't get to do that. But hopefully, you'll have another opportunity to do that. But was it cool to watch them win the title? Watching some of your new friends that you had made win the title after the trouble they had in July.
For sure, it was pretty crazy. I mean, I believed in them, and I know coach believed in them, but it was definitely a long shot. They really turned it around. It was really cool to see.
Yeah, shifting gears a little bit now, talking about last season. You've been to Omaha both years. You've been at Virginia. What can you talk a little bit about your Omaha experience as a sophomore versus your experience as a first year?
Yeah, I would say it's just kind of understanding what Omaha's about as a sophomore. As a freshman, you're I wouldn't say overwhelmed, but it's definitely a new experience. You're going in there; it's a very big stage that you've never been really accustomed to. But my sophomore year, I felt really at ease there. I kind of gone through all of the craziness before, and I kind of just got to play my game, which obviously the result was pretty similar, but I definitely felt a little bit more comfortable.
Yeah, and you guys have also had a really cool announcement here recently about your uniforms for this season. Evo Shield, you guys have partnered with them. How exciting is that? And what are you thinking about the new jersey designs?
Yeah, I think it's gonna be great. Evo Shield's obviously a great company. They do a lot for the sport of baseball. And I just think it's gonna be a great partnership between us. They're super creative. Got to talk to them a little bit, and I think they're gonna come up with some great designs.
Yeah, I saw the orange pinstripes in the video they did. Is that one of the jersey sets you're most excited about wearing, or is there
Yeah,
another one that caught your eye?
yeah, those are cool. To be honest, I haven't really there's so many different combinations we have, so I haven't even given it much thought. I'm just kind of ready for it to all be unveiled, but um, yeah, they're all pretty cool.
What are the vibes feeling like as you guys wind down fall practice?
Vibes are good. We had a really good fall as a team. Some new faces in there that really had an impact. I thought fall as a whole was great. The whole team, the returning guys did well. We got Iron Cab now, which would be fun. Good team building exercise. So I think we all feel good.
Yeah, I think in July we talked about how good this team was looking, even with guys that you might lose in the draft. But then ultimately, you guys end up with Jay Wolfhook back, Harrison Didewick back, Jacob Ferentz back, and then four of those eight highly touted recruits coming to campus, coming to grounds. I mean, how exciting is it to have those guys back, especially like Harrison Didewick, who's got the power, and Jay Wolfhook, who had that great end to the postseason last year.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. I mean, it's kind of created for a really good mix of guys that we have, which is perfect to go on a long run. Got the returners, got the real vets in Ferentz and Woolfolk. Yeah, I mean it's pretty amazing the stats that those guys put up. The fact that we can get them back is definitely going to help us in the long run.
And one of the other names we talked about that Baylor school connection, about Thomas Valencius, whether he might make it to campus. He does make it to grounds. How excited were you for him to join the team, and how has he been settling in so far on the mound?
Yeah, it's been great. He's just a great dude to have around. He's a really fun energy. But he looks really good. He's thrown quite a bit this fall, and he's definitely made an impact. He'll definitely be one of our guys in the spring. But it's just really cool for us, for me and Henry, to have one of our teammates here. It's just kind of like a little bit of a nostalgic moment. It's definitely gonna be fun playing with him.
Yeah, it sounds like they're going to have to keep going back to the Baylor school, see if they can keep finding it, because you and Henry and now Thomas have been really, really good for Virginia. So it seems like you just got to keep going back to that well, find somebody.
For sure. Yeah.
So you got a lot of new faces despite some of those returners, some freshman guys mostly. You have, a few transfers, but has anyone really, I mean, I'm sure everyone's been really impressive, but is there anyone that's really stood out or surprised you?
I wouldn't say surprised me, but I think the guy who stood out the most is Chris Arroyo. He's a transfer from JUCO. He went to Florida. He's got some of the most power I've ever seen. He's definitely going to be a really, really good player for us. So, and he's one of my good friends. So I'm excited to see him ball out. But yeah, he's the guy that comes to mind for sure.
Yeah, that was one of the names I was most excited about to see in the scrimmage against Maryland, and he did not disappoint in that matchup. He hit a monster home run. I think he hit a home run this past week as well, and pitched. So really exciting that you guys bring back so many guys, but then you also bring back this huge bat in Chris Arroyo. So that's really exciting stuff. Who on the team do you think has the best chance to have a breakout season in the spring? Who wasn't maybe necessarily a household name?
Um, that's a tough one to answer because to be honest, I don't really pay attention to all the hype surrounding guys and all the media stuff. So I don't really know who's really a household name or
Right.
not. I just know that we've got a lot of good players on our team, and I know a lot of them are going to do really well. So I mean, I can't really answer that to be
Yeah,
honest.
that's a fair that's a fair answer. um, I don't know if we talked about this in July, but you're not from the area. You're from New York. You a little bit from the New England area as well, right? Because you grew up a Red
Well,
Sox fan.
yeah, my dad's from Boston. I never
That's
grew up
right.
in New England, but
Okay,
my dad's from Boston. Yeah, that's where the Red
that's right.
Sox come from.
But and you went to school in Tennessee. What drew you to come into UVA? What made you wanna come and be a Cavalier?
Yeah. So when I grew up, the only real college baseball I ever watched were those. It was two or three College World Series where it was Virginia and Vanderbilt. It was like 14, 15. So maybe it was two. But I was like, I gotta go to one of these schools. These are two best programs. They're always in it. Like that's all I really knew. So when my recruiting process started, when I committed here as a freshman in high school, so it was pretty early. And when I started talking to Virginia, I kind of knew that that was a school I wanted to go to. So I made a decision pretty quick.
I love that. Love that. Those are some good memories for UVA fans. Well, 2015 more than 14, obviously. But
Yeah.
what excites you the most as the team wraps up the fall?
Um, I I'm just excited to start playing. The winter, I mean, the winter is a great time to get better, which is huge for all of us. Like you kind of understand what you're about a little bit in the fall. I mean, the fall can be deceiving, but you kind of understand what you need to work on and go into the winter and work on it and get better. But I'm ready to play. I mean, just playing with this team in the fall, I really just am ready to go out there and play some baseball.
I mean, after like this whole fall where I've been traveling and everything, I'm just ready for it to be February as well, and I'm not even playing, so I get it.
Yeah.
It's kind of a tease because you go through all this, and then all of a sudden you're gonna have a little bit of a break until the season. But was there anything in particular that you were working on in fall camp?
Yeah, I mean, I use the fall to kind of play around with stuff. It's the only real time in game where I can kind of mess around with a few things. I mean, we're trying to compete every day. Don't get me wrong, but I can kind of try some things out, see what works, see what doesn't. But I mean, the big thing for me this fall was just I I gained some weight over the summer, and it's definitely shown for me. I'm definitely hitting balls harder, hitting balls farther. So kind of just understanding my new body and my new game is a little bit of what I've kind
Yeah,
of had to deal with.
yeah. I think I saw you on the first day of scrimmages that were open to the public. You were robbed, I think, at the very end by Walker Buchanan, but then you've also hit a home run in scrimmages this past week, and it seems like you've tapped into a little bit more power. So I'm sure that's really exciting.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, at UVA, you wear the number 2. Now, as a freshman, you wore the number 7. Is there a significance to the number 2? Obviously, you wanted to make that change, or was that because Aiden Teal really wanted the number 7?
Yeah, that was for Aiden. One of his I don't want to butcher the story, but I know he had a connection with somebody who wore number 7, and I think they passed away, so it was very sentimental to him. So I mean, I was more than happy to give it up to him. But number 2 I wore in high school, so I was happy with that as well.
Awesome. Yeah, I was curious because I remember it took me a while to really adjust to that because I'm like, I keep seeing number 7 and knowing that that's Aiden, but I'm like, where's Henry? And it's with the adjustment there. But let's get into some more fun questions here. The first one I'm going to ask you: what was your welcome to college moment?
Yeah. Trying to think. Welcome to college. Um, I mean, I would probably say it was in the fall, my freshman year, just kind of getting on campus and realizing the game's a little bit quicker. Guys are a little bit bigger. Everyone's really throwing strikes. Everyone's commanding their stuff. So, um, yeah, I mean, I think that was probably the biggest adjustment is just the speed of the college game. I don't know if there's a really specific moment, but
Talking about a couple superlatives on the team. Who's the team class clown?
class clown, probably Walker Buchanan. He's definitely a clown. It used to be Anthony Stefan. He was a funny guy. Walker's probably taking that now.
I was going to ask that because I love the segments they did where they let Anthony let him go and ask questions right before I think Omaha both times. But a lot of funny guy. He'll be missed, but it's good to know that somebody's filling the void.
Yeah.
Who's stepping up in terms of kind of the team leader?
Oh, we got a bunch of guys. I can't really think of one person, but I mean, obviously all the returners. That's kind of the culture we set here. Is you kind of pass it down to the next guy. So all the returners come back and have sort of a different role in the development of the younger guys. But I mean, the great thing about our team is that I feel like we're all leaders. Whether you're freshmen coming in, obviously there's a little bit more to learn for them, but we all try to lead, all try to help each other.
You're going to have a very long and storied career in baseball, but I'm curious what your dream job outside of baseball would be.
Yeah. I growing up, I always want to be a GM. I've always I've always loved like playing fantasy sports. Just kind of working on building a team. So I think that'd be great. Maybe working in a front office somewhere. But I definitely want to work in baseball. I love the game so much. If I'm playing, which I hopefully am for a long time, I want to play. But after that, I'll do something in baseball for sure.
Love that. Love that. Are you still able to play fantasy baseball? And
Yeah.
do you guys have like a team fantasy baseball league?
No, we don't do it with the team, but yeah, I mean we could play. Um, as long as you're not paying for it. So
Right, right,
we're not doing any
exactly.
of
Yep,
that. We're
yep,
not doing any of that. But yeah, I play more fantasy football, but
yeah,
fantasy baseball is cool too.
yeah. Fantasy football is a little bit easier. You only got to worry about like once a week setting the lineup, whereas
Yeah.
fantasy baseball is really time consuming. Um, you're a shortstop by trade. I know there's you might be playing second, you might play short, but what's your Mount Rushmore of shortstops?
Current or all time?
Let's go all time.
Okay.
That's tougher because
Yeah, that's a tough one. Growing up, I really liked Troy Tulowitzki. That was one guy I really looked at a lot.
Number two.
Yeah, number two as well. Um, that's a really tough question. You got to put Cal Ripken Jr. in there. This might be controversial, and I'm a Red Sox fan, but you got to put A-Rod in there. Take all the steroids away. He was probably the best ever.
Yeah.
One more, right?
Yep.
Yeah. We'll put Ozzie Smith in there.
There we
I never
go.
got to see him play, but seems like a wizard.
I mean, I feel like you can see video and see how good guys are. And do you have a Mount Rushmore of UVA shortstops, or I mean, Griff O'Farrell's got to be up there at the top, right?
I'll throw Griffin there, but I don't really have a deep knowledge of UVA history like that, so I'm gonna have to pass on that.
You're right. I've been watching for years, so like I grew up on it, so I got a little bit of an advantage there. All right, let's say I'm coming up to Charlottesville. What's the local food staple that your go-to food spot that you're recommending to people and going to on a regular basis?
Okay, so my go-to, which me and Kyle Teal found my freshman year, and we would go like 3 times a week, is this place called Chiang Thai. It's this Thai spot near the field. That's become definitely a staple for us in the team. And also this Hawaiian barbecue spot called Mochico. Really, really good.
Good, yeah. I need to. What's the order there at Mochico?
At Mochico, I get like chicken katsu, which is like fried chicken with rice. I get poke, and they have this thing called Mochico chicken, which is like this fried chicken. It's really, really good. If you ever end up coming to Charlottesville this spring, you actually have to check it out. It's really good.
Yeah. Well, I'm in Richmond, so I come up to you guys more often than anybody else. So
yeah, you definitely gotta go there.
Absolutely. That's why I'm literally like, as you say this, I'm writing this down, getting that order. What's your pregame ritual like?
Pregame, it's pretty chill. Obviously get all my swings in, kind of get the swing feeling right. I always make sure I get a little nap in. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. I eat a little bit, try not to eat a ton. Do some visualization.
Nothing crazy with like the superstitions or anything like that?
Nah, no crazy superstitions.
What about your pregame BP focus? What's normally the focus when you're taking BP right before the game?
Yeah, so in our program, there's a lot of things that we're taught to do in BP on the field. Kind of situational hitting, which is great to kind of get those. As our coach says, have the clubs in the bag. You want to have all the clubs. But I mean, for me, it's kind of just getting a feel for the barrel early on. Starting with a short bat a little bit, just barrel feel. I like to get to a spot where I know where the barrel's at, so I can just be athletic and just try to hit balls hard.
All right, last season you faced a lot of really good pitchers. Do you have a guy in mind that might have been the toughest pitcher that you faced in the conference last year?
Yeah, I don't know his name, but there was some dude for Georgia Tech last year who threw like it was the grossest slider I've ever seen. It would move in weird directions. I don't know his name at all.
Was it the starter on a Friday night? Or
no, it was not a starter.
It was a reliever.
It was a random bullpen guy, and he just had the weirdest pitch I've ever seen. And it was also like my first game back from injury, so I think that kind of played into it a little bit. But I talked to other guys, and they were saying it was gross too. But he would literally just throw a slider every time, and
still couldn't.
No one could hit it. Yeah, it was crazy.
Oh man, yeah, that Georgia Tech series was interesting, and how about what is your favorite ACC ballpark besides your own?
I really liked going to UNC my freshman year. It's definitely a cool ballpark. I was hoping I got to go see Wake, but we're not ended up playing them this year, so probably UNC. I really liked NC State. Obviously I didn't like when they hit homers against us, but when they had like a light show when they hit homers, I thought that was really cool. I'll probably say those two, UNC, NC State.
Yeah, UNC is a really common one. Clemson also gets some, but I don't think, yeah, you guys aren't getting a chance to go there. And Florida State for the atmosphere is pretty great, and you guys get a chance to go there this year. So that'll be pretty exciting. They're a really good looking team as well. That's about it I've got for you, Henry. I appreciate your time. As always, it was really great having you on. Do you have anything else you want to share before we say goodbye?
No, sounds good.
All right, that's going to do it for our player interviews here on ACC Central. We'll be back with some coaches' interviews in a couple of days. But until then, we will see you on the flip side. Go Hoos.
Yes, sir.